Good morning to all. Myself, Dr. Vishwesh B. N. Associate Professor in the Department of Prasuti Tantra in Ayurveda Faculty, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. And today we discuss the topic of caesarean delivery or caesarean section. And under the heading of caesarean section or caesarean delivery, we will consider what are the indications of caesarean section, which are the equipments that are required for the procedure, how to prepare the patient for surgery, and which type of anesthetic technique is to be adopted for the surgery. What is caesarean section? So it is a surgical procedure where the fetus is delivered through the incision that is given over abdomen and uterine wall. So this procedure is called a caesarean section. If you consider the incidence of caesarean section, so it is gradually increasing worldwide. Because of the improved techniques of anesthesia, improved technique of surgery, and the availability of the blood transfusion facilities, improvement in antimicrobials or the antibiotics. So this is the main reason for increase in the number of caesarean sections. The other responsible factors for the rise of the incidence of surgery is mainly due to the early identification of fetal as well as the maternal risk. So the proper antenatal care, the proper attention for the gestational diseases like the hypertension and diabetes mellitus, and proper intrapartum as well as antepartum surveillance of the fetus. So that is the main reason for increase in the number of incidence of caesarean section. Because of this, the number itself is increasing, and the surgery itself is one of the important indication of caesarean section. That means the previous caesarean section is one important reason for the repeat caesarean section. Late marriage is one more reason for increased caesarean section, because elderly primigravida is considered to be high risk case. Perinatal morbidities are more, so that may be the reason for rise in the number of sections. Then trial labor for the vaginal breech delivery is also decreasing because of the perinatal neonatal injuries as well as maternal perineal injuries. Then the intrapartum monitoring by the help of cardiotocograph or any other methods that will promptly diagnose the fetal distress. So that is one more reason for the rise in numbers. Then the rise of medico-legal pressures or medico-legal litigations, that is one more reason for the reduction in the trial labor as well as decrease in the number of forceps or the instrumental deliveries. Now the indications of caesarean section. There are two types of indications of caesarean section. First is absolute indication, second is relative indication. In absolute indication, there is no other option other than the surgery to evacuate the uterine cavity or to extract the fetus, where the vaginal delivery is highly impossible. If you give trial in this type of the cases, that will end up in either maternal or fetal mortality. The cases like the central placenta previa, where the placenta is attached to the lower pole of the uterus and thus it obliterating the birth canal or the birth passage. During the process of normal labor, when the presenting part passes in this area, there is every chance of separation of placenta from the lower attachment. Also there is a chance of rupture of the placenta. Both the conditions are highly dangerous because it leads to torrential bleeding per vagina and the maternal hypotension and the maternal death is the complication of central placenta previa. There is every chance of the neonatal death also. So this is the first important reason for the cesarean section. Then severely contracted maternal pelvis or cephalopelvic disproportion, where there is every chance of fetal birth injuries as well as maternal pelvic injuries if you go with the trial labor. The other reason for cesarean section is any of the tumor or a mass that's coming into the birth canal or the birth passage, like the cervical fibroid or huge pelvic mass that will obstruct the birth passage. Vaginal obstruction conditions like the button injuries or atresia or stenosis, maybe due to previous surgeries, pelvic surgeries. So that is also one of the reasons for absolute cesarean section. The attached twins or the conjoined twins is one more reason for cesarean section. Patient with a history of myomectomy, that is removal of the fibroids from the uterine wall. As this procedure is damaging the uterine musculature, there is every chance of rupture either during the period of pregnancy or during the period of trial labor. So one must be aware that there is every chance of scar dehiscence of previous myomectomy, and that may end up in hemoperitoneum, fetal distress, or intrauterine fetal death. So if patient gives a history of myomectomy, that too involving the entire full thickness of the uterine wall, that is an indication of cesarean section. The accidental umbilical cord prolapse. either during the process of artificial rupture of membrane or spontaneous rupture of membrane, especially with the patient, those who are having excessive amniotic fluid or polyhydramnios. It may be due to gestational diabetes mellitus, congenital anomalies, larger placenta, whatever it may be the case. If there is excessive fluid, especially if the presenting part or the head is not engaged into the pelvic cavity, there is every chance of accidental prolapse or cord prolapse. In case of accidental cord prolapse, if you continue with the process of normal labor, there will be periodic uterine contraction and that will propel the presenting part into the pelvic cavity and that will compress the umbilical cord against the pubic symphysis, and initially there will be fetal distress and later it will end up in complete cessation of the blood supply to the fetus and then fetal death. So this is an emergency condition, so that is important indication of cesarean section. Then patients, those who are having active infection of herpes in the genitalia, these are also should be considered for cesarean section. Next is relative indications of cesarean section. Here the vaginal delivery may be possible, but there is chances of maternal as well as fetal morbidity. So in case of borderline cephalopelvic disproportion, so there is chance of normal labor, but that may be assisted or that baby may have some amount of birth injuries. Then patients with a previous history of cesarean sections. So there is every chance of scar rupture or scar dehiscence in the present trial labor. So that is also considered to be a relative indication of cesarean section. You may give the trial, but under prompt vigilance. Then patients with fetal distress or with non-reassuring fetal heart rate. If the fetal distress is severe, then it should be considered for cesarean section, or if mild to moderate fetal distress is noted, then one may go with the trial labor. Then the dystocia conditions, cervical dystocia, where the cervix is not opening or there will be abnormal dilatation of the cervix. So that may prolong the labor. So this is also one of the relative indications. Then those patients who are having bleeding per vaginum prior to labor, that is called as antepartum hemorrhage, like the placenta previa where the placenta is attached to the lower segment, or abruptio placenta where there is premature separation of placenta prior to labor. Both the conditions are relative indications of cesarean section that depends upon the amount of the blood loss and condition of the mother as well as the fetus. If there is the features of hypovolemia or if there is a features of fetal distress, then one must go for cesarean section. The fetal malpresentations are one more indication of cesarean section. Either it may be brow presentation, shoulder presentation, or breech presentation. Next indication is induction failure. You are inducing the process of labor either through surgical method like rupture of membrane, artificial rupture of membrane, or through medicines. So if it is not augmented properly or progressed properly, that is the failure induction. Next is failure of progress of labor. The progress is not in accordance with the expected progress of labor. So the time is elapsed, but the progress is very minimal. So that is also the indication of cesarean section. Then the other indications of cesarean are the patients with a bad obstetrical history, where there is recurrent pregnancy loss or fetal wastage or recurrent perinatal mortality. So that becomes an precious pregnancy. That's why the safe confinement of the pregnancy is important. So for that, one may opt for cesarean section. Then the maternal abnormalities or the maternal disease conditions like the hypertensive disorders of pregnancy, like eclampsia or the preeclampsia, where the patient is having high blood pressure, generalized edema, proteinuria, and other complications, or the patients, those who are having hypertensive or diabetes, uncontrolled gestational diabetes mellitus. Here, two reasons. One, the chances of sudden fatal demise is one important complication of gestational diabetes mellitus. Second, the chances of polyhydramnios, cord prolapse. The third is obstructed labor because of fetal macrosomia or larger fetus. Then the shoulder dystocia, the aftercoming head or after the delivery of the fetal head, there will be always the chances of entrapment of the shoulder in the maternal pelvis or contracted pelvis. That mainly due to the fetal macrosomia. So this is one of the important reasons. Then the cases where there is mother is suffering with any congenital or acquired heart diseases like rheumatic heart diseases, coarctation of aorta. So patient is not in a position to withhold the pressure of the normal labor. So that is one more reason for the cesarean section. Then the structural or functional abnormalities of the pelvic organs like the previous history of vesicovaginal fistula. Either it may be traumatic or it may be due to previous deliveries or whatever may be the reason. If the patients are having the history of vesicovaginal fistula, there is every chance of developing the vesicovaginal fistula after the second or third labor because of the compression of bladder base or the urethra during the process of labor that will lead to ischemia of that particular area, and subsequently that area may be necrosed and a fresh fistulous tract may be developed between the bladder and the vaginal canal or the bladder and the uterine cavity. So either utero-vesical fistula or vesicovaginal fistula may be the complication. That's why this is one of the reasons for the cesarean section. So in together, the reasons either they may be absolute, like the severely contracted pelvis, pelvic tumors, congenital twins, or patients with genital herpes. They are the absolute indications. Then the relative indications like patients with marginal CPD, breech presentation, hypertension, gestational diabetes mellitus, fetal distress, bad obstetrical history, precious pregnancy. All these are relative indications of cesarean section. Next is how to prepare the patient for surgery. First and foremost thing is you must explain to patient as well as patient attendant why you are opting for cesarean section, what are the complications of anesthesia, what are the surgical complications, what about the post-operative period, what about the next pregnancy. All these things should be clearly explained to the patient as well as attendant. You must take a written consent along with the signature of the patient or patient attendant along with the witness. Patient should be kept nil orally as soon as the patient is posted for surgery in case of emergency, and in case of planned surgery at least 6 hours before the surgery you keep the patient nil orally. If you operate in a patient in a full stomach, there is every chance of regurgitation of the stomach content because of the anesthetic effect into the esophagus, and then that will come into the oropharyngeal area. There is chances of aspiration and aspiration pneumonia. To prevent that one, we are keeping the patient nil orally. Next, the surgical area or the part must be prepared by removal of local hair and painting the part with aseptic solution. Next, one should administer the evacuation enema 2 hours before the surgery. The benefit of enema is one, during the process of surgery, the full bowel is not coming into the surgical area. The other thing, is the postoperative distension due to paralytic ileus is very minimal if you operate in a patient after giving enema. So unless it is a very emergency, it is better to administer an evacuation enema for a patient. Prophylactic antimicrobials must be administered 1 hour before the surgery so that the drug must reach to the surgical site. So this will help in reducing the post-operative complications in the form of infections. H2 blockers or PPIs must be administered prior to surgery to reduce the gastric acidity. Antiemetic drugs also preferred as one of the complications or the adverse effect of the anesthetic drug is vomiting. Next, the preloading the patient with IV fluids. Due to drug effect, there will be peripheral vasodilatation and pooling of the blood in the peripheral area that will lead to the hypotension. To prevent that one, it is better to load the patient with approximately 1 to 1.5 liters of the IV fluids. Either it may be spinal or general anesthesia. Catheterization is one important procedure prior to surgery. One purpose is to empty the bladder, and second, you are preventing the chances of bladder injury due to the surgical procedure. Third important benefit is you can easily monitor the urine output, which is a vital sign in case of post-operative care. Then the pre-surgical or the pre-anesthetic drugs must be administered as per anesthetic advice. Coming to the instruments that are required for cesarean section, the sponge holder that is used to paint the surgical area, towel clips, they will help in draping the patient with the surgical cut sheets or whole towel, BP handle or knife for the attachment of the surgical blades, then different number of surgical blades that are used to cut the different layers of the abdomen or any other area, then dissetting forceps, either toothed or non-toothed, then curved artery forceps, at least 6 artery forceps are used in case of cesarean section, that to grasp various tissues, grasp threads, aponeurosis, etc. A pair of straight scissors, curved Mayo scissors, to cut rectus sheath, to cut peritoneum, a pair of Alice forceps to grasp various tissues like the aponeurosis, rectus sheath, muscle, uterine edges, then 2 needle holders to suture different layers of the uterus as well as muscle and abdomen. Green Armitage forceps or hemostatic forceps, they help in clamping any bleeding vessel. A Babcock's forceps if the patient opts for tubal ligation to grasp the fallopian tubes. Doyne's retractor to retract the lower aspect of the incision or to retract the bladder. And the other routine surgical equipments like the diathermy cautery for the cauterization, then umbilical cord clamp for neonatal cord clamping, suction apparatus with tubes, nozzles, etc. for the suctioning of the peritoneal fluid, blood, whatever you get the fluid during the surgery, kidney tray for keeping the various instruments and to receive the placenta, different types of the antiseptic solutions to paint the pack and the surgical area, sterile gloves, sterile drapes to drape the patient, different type of the fluids, abdominal pads, the gauze swabs, different suture materials like chromic catgut number 2, number 110, especially for suturing the uterine layers and the peritoneum, cotton thread or silk for suturing the skin, Prolene or polypropylene for suturing the rectus sheath, polyglactin or Vicryl 1 number 10 either for uterus or for rectus sheath or for subcutaneous skin suturing. Then abdominal drain for the drainage purpose during the postoperative period. Then drugs like oxytocin, ergometrin, prostaglandins for the prompt contraction of the uterus after the evacuation of the uterine cavity, hemostatic drugs, and different drugs of anesthesia. So these are the required drugs as well as instrument for cesarean section. Next, choice of anesthesia in case of cesarean section. What is the purpose of administration of anesthesia prior to surgery? The three main goals of anesthesia are analgesia, relief from pain of the surgery. Second is asthenia or the weakness of the muscle of the surgical site. Third is amnesia or forgetfulness. All these can be achieved either through the regional anesthesia like spinal anesthesia or epidural anesthesia, or by general anesthesia or by local anesthesia. The spinal anesthesia is a type of regional anesthesia where the lumbar puncture is done with the help of spinal needle and anesthetic drugs like bupivacaine or the xylocaine is introduced into the intrathecal area. The drugs are hyperbaric, they will settle down in the lower pole and the surgical site is anesthetized. The technique is similar, but you are attaching the same with the epidural catheter. Then you are administering top-up drugs till you require the analgesia in case of epidural anesthesia. There are contraindication of patients for this type of regional anesthesia, like in case of severe fetal distress, where there is no time for the management of spinal anesthesia, or in patients those who are having severe hemorrhage and shock. Because of the anesthetic effect, further there will be fall in the blood pressure, so that will deteriorate the condition of the patient. So better option is general anesthesia. Then patients with the spine injuries or local skin infections, so better to opt for other type of anesthesia in this condition. The next type of anesthesia is general anesthesia. So in this procedure, first you are inducing the patient with drugs like propofol or thiopentol sodium. After that, you are administering short-acting muscle relaxant like succinylcholine. Once you get the effect of these drugs, then you are intubating the patient with the help of cuffed endotracheal tube as well as laryngoscope. Then this is connected to the Bowell's apparatus. Then the maintenance of anesthesia is by Bowell's apparatus with combination of oxygen along with anesthetic drugs like nitrous oxide or isoflurane or halothane. Simultaneously, you are also administering muscle relaxants like vecuronium or etracuronium. So once you complete the surgery, Then the general anesthesia is reversed by administering drugs like physostigmine along with glycopyrrolate. The least preferred type of anesthesia is local anesthesia in this case. When the patient is not suitable either for general anesthesia or spinal anesthesia, then one may opt for local anesthesia. So the xylocaine with adrenaline is used for the purpose of local anesthesia. So in the next session, we will consider the procedure of caesarean section.